Trent, you want to start us off since you're on top of my screen?
Well, Chase, congratulations, first of all. Secondly, were you expecting number two?
Chase, can you hear us? Chase, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Trent, do you want to try that again?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Chase, congratulations, first of all. Were you surprised at all that you went number two? It kind of surprised some of us who were watching. You probably had a little bit more information then.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. Didn't really know what to think. I kind of got a quick call and just really excited.
Chase, what were the extent of your conversations with the Reds leading up to the draft?
Yeah, I talked to them multiple times. We got to go to Cincinnati, go out to a game, and talk to them. So, just got to get to know me better and got to get to know them better.
What game was it, and what were kind of your impressions of the team and everything else?
I think they were playing the Guardians. Impressions were like really impressed with this organization, and just talked about development and pitching, and had a good time with them.
What do you think you did this year in particular that helped kind of elevate your draft stock? You obviously moved up very quickly. You said you were surprised, and by the way, congratulations as well. What made you think you kind of got you to where you are right now this season?
Just whole becoming a better player, a better person, working on the mental game, and just working on mechanics and just trying to become an all-around better pitcher.
Chase, Wake Forest, of course, has a stellar reputation. The Reds are familiar with Rhett Lauer as well. What do you think you learned or made you better from going to Wake Forest specifically from a pretty good program at Tennessee?
Yeah, that pitching lab they have is no joke. Just being able to get in there and work with all the new technology that baseball is becoming, and get on the move better and work on the mental game really helps me elevate my game.
We hear all the time about the pitching lab, but what is that like? I don't know. It almost seems like science fiction to us who don't go inside of it. What is it like when you go in there, and what does it do specifically?
Yeah, just breaking down all types of things, mechanics, stuff like that. It's kind of like a small community. Got analytics team, we got pitching coordinators, pitching coach. Their whole job is just to get you better.
Chase, the Reds call you a top of the rotation potential starting pitcher down the road. In your mind, what makes you that way and that potential? And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just my characteristics, my personality, just wanting to get better every day. Hoping to be that high-end star that looked up to him for a long time. So
sorry. Sound like earlier in your career, maybe even earlier this year, your fastball was a little bit more hittable than maybe you wanted it to be, but it seems like you made many strides in fixing that. What was kind of the big key to make your fastball even harder to hit?
Just moving better, getting better characteristics on it, improving VB, and pitch location.
How much have you improved your secondary pitches over the last year?
Major improvements, being able to throw them for strikes, throw them across counts, kind of throw a few, add in curveball that I, just had added a couple of months, and, using it to my advantage.
Chase, congratulations. I saw you were born in Italy. Your parents were in the military. How much did that upbringing and being able, I guess, as a kid to be elsewhere influence who you are today?
Yeah, I don't remember anything of it being in Italy, but yeah, definitely, them bringing me up in that military background has definitely helped in sports and just created who I am today.
Chase, were they Navy in the Navy? I know that's
Yes.
Naples is a Navy base. Yeah. Both of them, or just
Yes, both of them were in the Navy.
okay? Great. Have you met Derek Johnson beyond being who he is and also being in Nashville? What do you know about DJ, and have you met him?
I've met DJ. Seen him a couple times. He's been to, saw him a lot in high school. Don't know too much about him, but I can't wait to learn more about him.
Did you meet any Reds people, like players or anything when you were here?
No, I didn't. I know Rhett Lauder. He went to Wake, and he's in the Double A system. So I'm looking forward to meeting a bunch of guys.
I mean, I know Rhett was gone, like you transferred and all that, so you guys weren't teammates, particularly during the season. What is your relationship with Rhett, and how well do you know Rhett?
Yeah. He was here in the fall working out and stuff like that. I got to meet with him, learn more about him. He was real friends with Josh Arnold and came over to the apartment a lot. But me and him have been texting. He's kind of been walking me through and answering any questions I had about the Reds organization. So I can't wait to grow our relationship.
What's the next step for you as a pitcher?
Just to grow. Like I say, get better every day. I'm not the best that I'm going to be, and I hope to use the Reds and their resources and just get better and better and hope to be in the bigs soon.
Do you get
Did Rhett?
I'm sorry, Trent. Do you get the sense that you're joining an organization that has made a priority on developing young, talented pitchers like yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at Ray, he's gotten better and better. He's moving up in Double A, like I said, Hunter Green, the improvements he's making, like I said, I looked up to him and to see what he's doing, it shows how much they care about development.
Has Rhett said anything about kind of that? I mean, because there's the reputation that Wake has is like it's as good as any pro pitching program. Has Rhett said anything about how that translates into pro ball and kind of what you kind of carry over?
Yeah, just getting what he learned from Wake and getting what he's learning from the Reds organization. Really feels like he's out of the game right now. And that I feel like he'll be in the bigs very soon.
You were drafted in 21 by the Padres. Emotionally, how do the two moments compare?
Yeah, when I was drafted, I was able to get that opportunity by the Padres. I kind of knew I was going to school, but to get that call from them, know that I was going to Tennessee, gave me a huge confidence boost. Now getting this call was a little bit different, but both feels great.
Do you know what the rest of the season looks like for you pitching wise?
I have no clue. See what they want to do with me. Started throwing last week, so I'm sure they'll send me out somewhere. They'll evaluate me. So,
Chase, any of us who have watched you pitch before don't think of you as calm and kind of even and not excitable. You don't see, you see very, very calm in this. Is it just one of those differences between when you're on the mound, you're a different guy?
Yeah, 100%. You can't be like that always. Off the field, I'm really relaxed, chilled, and it kind of makes me the pitcher who I am. Just have that high octane energy. I hope to bring that to the Reds, but I'm always super adaptable. So.
Hey, congratulations, first of all. Secondly, how are you hoping to just kind of soak in this moment? Seemed like you were celebrating there with your family and just kind of hopefully process and once it all sinks in here.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel real to me, to be honest. I'm just grateful for this opportunity. Just thank God and everybody in the support system around me.
Who's your representation?
Banner Sports.
I'm sorry, Chase. It seemed like you broke up there. Maybe it's my connection, but I was wondering if you could repeat that. Sorry.
Oh, Vayner Sports.
Anybody else? All right, Chase, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And congratulations
Yep.
again. Thanks for joining our call.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
night.
Happy. You too.
Your number 2 pick was a little surprised that you guys reached out to him as quickly in the evening as you did. What made you guys decide to go with him and namely a pitcher in general for that pick?
Tough decision, but we saw just the overall talent, what he brings to the table. We've scouted him for a long time, had significant interest from the first time we saw him in high school all the way through, his time at Tennessee and obviously this year at Wake Forest. It's top of the rotation potential. It's a fastball that runs up to 102. We think it's the best slider we've seen in this draft class and really even going back a couple, and it's a 4-pitch mix. The curveball is above average to plus, the changeup's above average. Doesn't have to use it that much at the college level, but it's going to be a weapon for him moving forward. He's a really competitive kid. He's athletic. He's big. He's strong. He fits everything we're looking for in a starting pitcher.
Joe, when there were so many questions about college baseball this year and the offensive output that we saw everywhere with so many records broken, is it almost one of those things where you look at what pitchers did have success and that could be even more impressive? A guy like Burns had success when everybody else is hitting.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see a significantly inflated offensive environment. And what he's pitched in at Tennessee and Wake Forest, those are 2 of the best ballparks to hit in America. And he's, really succeeded at both of them. He has the stuff to continue doing that forward. I wouldn't say that, just the offensive environment was what led us to pick Chase at that selection, but it was part of it.
Sounds like the class as a whole had like a top tier guys. Can you just describe the conversations you guys had in the draft room, and also like were there any things about Burns in particular that as you got to that point of making the final decision, things that kind of pushed him over the top?
Yeah, we did think he separated at the top of the class among the pitchers. It was a very difficult decision going through all those top names because there are a lot of talented players up there. Sorry, Charlie, what was the rest of that question? Lost myself in the middle.
What were the kind of points that were made in the draft room that kind of separated Burns kind of as you had these conversations?
Well, we're a pretty traditional scouting organization as a whole. And if I heard it once, I heard it 100 times in the room. He's a big hairy monster. And those are the guys that, they pitch at the front of the rotations. They pitch in October. They pitch at the end of games. They're the ones you want to give the ball to. And there's some big hairy monsters on the hitting side too this year. So it was a difficult decision to make at the end of the day. But we're very happy with where we ended up.
What day did you guys kind of decide it was going to be him, assuming he wasn't taken ahead of it by Cleveland? But I know you said you had it earlier in the week. You had maybe a larger pool, and then you kind of whittled it down. When did he become your guy?
We whittled it down over like I told some of you guys, we started with a bigger group and kind of methodically worked through all of them. Everyone got tired of hearing and talking about the same exact players. I would say yesterday we got down to a smaller group, and then today was really when it became apparent that he was the one that we were going after.
What can you tell us about his intangibles and his makeup?
He is a competitor. He is fiery. He is intense. I don't know if you heard Tony Vitello on the broadcast, but he talked about him wanting the ball. And I'm sure that was hard for Tony to say after he transferred out of Tennessee and went to Wake. But he knows him as well as anyone, having recruited him, gotten him out of high school and had him for those first 2 years. He goes into full attack mode at all times. But he is a smart kid. He knows what he's doing. He made a business decision really in transferring to Wake Forest because he thought it was the right thing for him. No slight to the people at Tennessee or anything like that, but he thought it was right for him moving forward. He's a guy who understands who he is and really, is able to flip the switch and kind of go into blackout mode, as he told us, when he gets on the field.
So can you just save us a bunch of time next year, or save everybody a bunch of time next year by taking next year you're going to take Wake Forest's ace with your first pick and then LSU right-hander with your comp pick?
How about a high school shortstop?
And
that
throw
we
in a
just
high
did
school
there, too?
shortstop?
You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too typecast, but if we're looking at profiles, I think I've told you guys, if it's once, if it's 1,000 times, middle of the field, offensive players, starting pitching profiles. That's where we're going to start. That's where we're going to continue to look. But yeah, I guess you guys will just, figure out who the best at Wake is, figure out who the best at LSU is. And, maybe you might have to guess on the high school shortstop. That won't be so easy for you.
What did you like about your other two picks tonight?
Yeah. So Lewis is a athletic, left-handed hitting middle infielder. We believe he can play shortstop long term. He has power. He's an above average runner. Obviously he's a cold weather kid, so he hasn't had exactly the same number of reps that all the Southern kids have, but we believe there's tremendous physical ability and projection with him. Luke Coleman is, a really high pitchability and IQ starting pitcher. He doesn't have the biggest fastball in the draft class, but it plays up because he has a 4-pitch mix that he knows how to use. He really has the ability to use contrast to get hitters out, keep you guessing, locate. And we really saw him do it, all year, when he was at Alabama, before this year at LSU. And he's another guy that we have significant history from high school. We had interest at that point and saw the projection and the pitchability and weren't able to get it done then, but we should be able to get it done now, get him in the boat.
With Tyson, and I've only seen like a minute clip of him, but does he seem to have kind of like a similar physicality or like frame as a Stafura, a guy who kind of looks the part at a young age?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, if it's the same mold, obviously one's right-handed, the other's left-handed, but both, cold weather state shortstops with athleticism and projection.
And then Holman, does he kind of slide into some of those guys? Like I'm thinking Spires, Aguiar, kind of these pitchability guys who have seemed to, of course, Abbott at the top, another second-round pick, have seemed to do well in your system.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're prioritizing that starting pitching profile and going and get guys who can handle the bulk in the innings and know how to pitch. It's one of the core values of the organization is CHP. Can he pitch? That's very important in putting together the whole package for our guys. And he's the same sort of thing. We've seen guys like Aguiar go from, 89, 92 when we draft them up into the mid to high 90s later on in the process. And we think the same sort of thing is in front of Luke. He's not a soft tosser by any means. He's 90 to 94, touching 95. And it was consistent from the first outing of the year that I saw in freezing weather in Baton Rouge all the way through the end of the season for them.
Do you know yet is Burns going to pitch this year?
We're going to make the determination that's best for his long-term future. He didn't throw quite as many innings this year as, say, Lauder did last year, but he also was coming from a lower platform as a sophomore. It was about 70 innings to 100 innings. So we'll make that decision as an organization. He probably has some space to pitch, but we're going to figure out where he is exactly in his throwing progression and make sure we take it responsibly. Because obviously the long term is the most important thing with any of these guys that we took.
You guys good? All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.